What's up guys, my name is Tom, welcome back to another video, and today we're here for another episode of my F1 2021 career mode with Haas. Today is time for race 8 in season 1, one of the jewels of the calendar, the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Really looking forward to see what we can do about it. And if you haven't watched the previous episode, the Austrian Grand Prix, a banger of a race, I highly recommend to go check it out before you see this one. But before jumping onto Silverstone, you can see that we're already buying some upgrades. We bought a major front wing upgrade that should be ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix, so that is going to really come in handy. But unfortunately, one of the chassis upgrades that should have been ready for this weekend, unfortunately is not going to be fitted into the car. It has failed, so that is really unfortunate. It was for the chassis, and that will really come in handy. So we're going to fix that, and it's going to be ready for the next episode, which is going to be the Hungarian Grand Prix that I was talking about a few moments ago. But anyway, there you have it. We're going to jump onto the garage and see what is in store for us for this weekend's British Grand Prix. Really looking forward. Generally, I'm very happy at Silverstone. Generally, I have good races in this circuit, but you can see that, yeah, that's depressing to see. Two upgrades failed when they were supposed to come to this weekend. But anyway, we're going to press on, and you can see in the performance shot that Alfa Romeo pulled away, and they are really close now to AlphaTauri, and Williams not really that far as well, and Red Bull getting closer to Mercedes. However, so far this season they didn't get a single win, so that is really weird to see, because we've seen McLaren winning the French Grand Prix and they are like in the second league. So that's a bit weird to say the least, but that's the beauty of the F1 games. They can give us banger over races like it was the French Grand Prix. If you haven't watched, make sure to check it out. I already told that McLaren won that race, but really, go watch that race if you haven't too. You're not going to regret it, and it's actually quite odd, especially in a track like Paul Ricard that I absolutely hate, but he gave us that race, so now I started to like Paul Ricard. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to focus now in the track that we're racing now, which is Silverstone. Practice wise, pace has been really good. You can see going purple on the practice session program, and is expected to go P15 on Saturday's qualifying. The Brits showing to be really strong in the end of the practice one, with Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris 1-2 for United Kingdom. But anyway, we'll see what he can do on Saturday's qualifying. Pace, at least on practice, was good, but it's tradition, at least for me, and that I can carry the practice pace in onto qualifying. Maybe it's because the IA levels generally can be a bit sketchy in the game. I don't know, maybe putting some excuses on the table. Anyway, it's time for qualifying. I love this track, even if I am the slowest car in the world, because Maggots beckons the chapel. I think I don't have to say anything, and go flat out through cops is not going to be an option, because now these cars are slow. Even with a light car and with the softest comparative tire, I think that is going to be possible only if you're living in a fantasy world, or maybe with fully maxed out cars, I don't know. But you can see shifting down to 7th gear and still going off to those curbs, and now here we go through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, flat out here, and now just switch onto 7th gear, and here we're going to put on 5th gear. Some guys like to go on 6th gear, but I prefer to go on 5th to get a bit more rotation and not to have that much understeer through the final couple of corners. I think that's club, if I am not wrong, and across the line, and is going to be 127.3, and for the time being put us behind basically everyone. We are last of the guys that set a lap, so I decided to go once again. And you can see that this time we're going to improve by 0.2 of a second, so not that much gain. Let's see where this is going to put us. Only ahead of Nicholas Latifi, so this is not a good sign. You can see me shaking the wheel in frustration, and they have it, confirmation. We are down in P9 with Mick Schumacher a full second ahead of us, so we are kind of being demolished by our teammate and our rival Antonio Giovinazzi. So we are kind of being destroyed here. It's a bit embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. So it's time for our final lap of qualifying. You're going to join me for this entire lap and see if we can do something decent in this qualifying session. There's some time left on the table. You can see already gaining a little bit through the first sector. I really like that right-hander. It's so wide, you can carry so much speed. I don't know, it feels satisfying. But anyway, open the DRS as we go through the Wellington Straight. And we are up by less than 1/10 of a second comparing to our previous best. But I'm not gonna lie, the first sector wasn't that good. Here we go through Brooklands. I always like that corner as well. Can take such a wide line as we were doing for Luffield. It's very important to get a good run as you go through Woodcote, and these are good placing for overtaking, except when it's Hamilton and Verstappen going side by side. Anyway, here we go through Cops. I think this is the only corner that I don't really enjoy at this circuit, because we are so used to do it flat out. and now we have to make a big lift. Hopefully with the maxed out cars we can do something like that. But anyway, through Margaret's, Beckers and Chapel we went through that legendary complex of corners, and we are 3/10 up, so maybe I could have gained a bit. It's showing to be that Key2 is not going to be an option for this qualifying, and most likely we're going to be out qualified by our teammate, but let's see what we can do about it in the final couple of corners as we go through Valley, and now switching to Club for the right hand side corner, and here we go flat out across the line, going to improve by 4/10 of a second. It's not going to be Key2 for us in this weekend, but where this is going to put us at the start of the race, it's only P18, only ahead of both Williams' cars, so this is really disappointing, and Schumacher didn't make into the second phase of qualifying. It was the Alfa Romeo of Kimi Räikkönen. Our rival Gio, it was 5/10 faster than us, so definitely the pace wasn't in qualifying by any means. I don't know, I always feel so comfortable on practice, but then we go on to qualifying, I don't know, maybe the pressure. Anyway, we're going to see what we can do in the race, because generally my race pace is really good comparing to a qualifying pace. So never say never in Formula 1. We'll see what we can do about it. I'm really looking forward for this race because, you know, it's Silverstone. It's impossible to hate this track. So without further ado, let's go down to the track to Sunday for the British Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to Great Britain and the Great Silverstone circuit for today's Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Max Verstappen and Perez, Vettel, Stroll, Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz, Gasly, Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Thomas, Charles Leclerc and George Russell, Latifi and Mick Schumacher. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Thanks Jeffrey, and welcome guys to the British Grand Prix, starting in P16 thanks to some grid penalties from Charles Leclerc and our teammate Mick Schumacher. Strategy wise, it's going to be a soft medium strategy. You don't want to make the two-stop because we have the longest pit lane at this track, so the two-stop is definitely not a viable option. But tires, it seems that everyone is going to start on the soft, so it's not going to be, you know, any gambles when it comes to strategy. I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward soft medium strategy, but this doesn't mean that we're going to have a banger of a race because it's Silverstone, as we're seeing the 5 red lights, 26 lap ahead of us of the British Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go for one of the classes of the calendar. And you can see great start already overtaking one of the Alfa Romeos. It was Antonio Giovinazzi as we go into the first corner. I think Sainz lost the back end there, and we have some yellow flags, so Sainz has a long mountain to climb over the course of this British Grand Prix. But oh, there's a huge crash at the exit of Abbey. Oh, that is horrendous, and so many people out of the race. You can see the safety car being deployed once again after a lap 1 crash. That was massive. That should have been a red flag, and oh, that was, I don't know, but you can see that 5 people are out of the race. We have 5 DNFs in the space of 1 quarter. This is what happened. Carlos Sainz lost the back end. Oh, that is a horrendous shunt, you can see, and then it was a chain reaction, but that was a horrendous crash. If that was real life, it would be silence on the paddock. But anyway, let's see Sainz's start. It was a decent start, but yeah, he went too much to the right hand side of the track and everyone is going fast. He tangled with the Aston Martin, and you can see that the 2 Alfa Romeos are out of the race. Both Williams cars are out of the race as well. And yeah, it was, you don't see this every single day. You can see Raikkonen, he was really close to get unscathed, probably would get side pod damage anyway, but it was a 4 wide into Abbey. That is impossible to happen without contact. You can see Tsunoda was really lucky as now we are watching the POV of Giovan, as you can see, and oh, it's going to be almost a T-bone crash. I'm showing you all the replays because this is not something that happened every day. You can see Leclerc was really lucky to not be out of the race. He just lost his front wing, and this is Nicholas Latifi, and that is trying to avoid, but you can see he runs through the back of George Russell. He had any chance whatsoever, and now this is George Russell's POV. Mick Schumacher is still in this race. We're going to watch his POV now. His start was okay-ish. He didn't gain any positions, but you can see that he managed to brake enough, to reduce speed enough, to just lose a bit of his front wing. It wasn't fully off, which is kind of surprising to see, but damn, that should have been a red flag. I don't know why this game still doesn't have red flags, but anyway, we're not here to talk about the game's quality. This is Valtteri Bottas leading the British Grand Prix behind the safety car. I mean, who leads at the moment is Bernd Mailander, and you can see that we have 15 runners in this Grand Prix, and we're just on lap 2, so just see how massive that crash was. Leclerc and Schumacher were really lucky to not be out of the Grand Prix, but out of nowhere we are up into P10, ladies and gentlemen. We started in P16 and we are on the points. As easy as that. I wish all the Grand Prix could be like this. And you can see Yuki Tsunoda is out of the race, and he pulls to the side of the track at the exit of Copse. And this happened during the safety car period. As we're getting ready for the restart of the race, we're still in P10, and you can see Schumacher in last place. However, is in P14, which is quite weird to say, as this Grand Prix gets underway once again, and it's going to be really hard to score points because we have 14 guys left on the race. However, we are on a Haas, and it seems the pace is not that brilliant in this weekend. But I'm going to do everything that I can, and let's pray to the F1 gods that we can have some more DNFs to get some free positions. As Lance Stroll is behind and he's trying to go up the inside, and the Targa rear tire, and I think he lost a bit of his front wing. So what is happening, guys? Everyone is going crazy in this Grand Prix. This is Lance Stroll a few moments later through the hangar straight, being overtaken by Esteban Ocon. Now Schumacher sends one down the inside. Very audacious move. And the Stroll will be forced, we are obliged to pit if he wants to have any chance to score points in this race, as I'm putting this in ultra speed because this is the longest pit lane of the calendar, and yeah, that would be a bit boring to see Lance Stroll going at 80 kilometers per hour in the longest pit lane of the calendar. But now this is Mick Schumacher. It seems that I can't use the replay cameras, rewinding left, right and center. Anyway, Schumacher is about to be overtaken by Charles Leclerc without a doubt. The DRS I think is already enabled, if I'm not wrong. Actually no, because Leclerc is not opening the wing as they're going side by side through the hangar straight. Down inside goes the Ferrari, and Schumacher doesn't have any chance whatsoever. Realistically, I think we can't score points. I know that we are up into P10, but let's be honest, we have Esteban Ocon and Charles Leclerc behind us. DRS gets enabled on lap 6. But like I was saying, if we want to score points, basically we need another multi-car crash where we are not the victim. So this race is a bit weird because we are on the points. However, we have to, you know, put this mindset that points are not going to be an option. Most likely we're going to need another miracle like it was at Turn 1 in the first lap, and this is Esteban Ocon gaining and gaining thanks to the up of the DRS. Is he going to send one down inside? Yes, look how confident that Alpine is, and you can see we run wide for good measure, and there he is trying to go round the outside. Who's going to have the better traction through left field? Is going to be Esteban Ocon without any surprise, and he gets up into the final points paying position. But I'm not done yet. I'm going to see how much time I can keep Ocon behind, but you can see that he gets a brilliant run around the outside through Copse, and there is nothing that I can do. And you can see Leclerc is already behind me. I'm going to lose 2 positions in the space of 1 lap, and you can see visually how much Ocon is stretching the gap. And now it's time for Leclerc to overtake us side by side. We go through the hangar straight. We have DRS, but this is not going to stop the Ferrari to make a move on us. Round the outside he goes through Stowe. I'm going to try to hold this position as much as I can. We're still going at it, and Leclerc gets up into P11, but I'm not done yet as we send one down the inside through Valley. I'm going to try to do the switchback as we go through Club. That was really close to hit for Schumacher losing the front wing. He was trying to do the switchback as well, and Leclerc gets up into P11. So I did what I could. I was trying to have some fun as well, because there's no way that we're going to score points because we don't have any pace whatsoever. Maybe Schumacher is faster than us, considering the pace that he had in qualifying, considering my pace in qualifying. We'll see what we can do, but at the moment we're kind of a sitting duck, and there is Schumacher trying to go on the inside through Margaret and Beckett. but no use. It's better to wait for the DRS, and I think is what he's going to do. Lance Stroll down in P14, 33 seconds behind us, but maybe he can catch us at the end of the race, considering that our pace is absolutely dreadful. But there he goes, Schumacher down inside he goes, and he's up into P12, but we'll see if we can regain this position as I go to the outside, trying to go around the outside as we go through Valley. I managed to carry enough speed as we're still going at it. This is really good to see the two Haas drivers going side by side, because let's be honest, we don't have nothing to lose. We're not going to finish on the points at this pace. And there you go, Schumacher gets a good run through the first corner, no contact whatsoever. That's you love to see it. Gunther Steiner should be sweating at the moment, but not mad because we're not making any contact whatsoever. Here we go, skipping a little bit into lap 9, and Schumacher is under threat from us. We're striking distance, and here we go, thanks to the up of the DRS, switching smoothly to the right hand side of the track. Side by side we go once again through, so make sure to leave the room. All the respect to Schumacher. This is a healthy battle, no contact so far in this race, and Schumacher locks up a little bit, trying to make a switch back, but he parks the car beautifully on the apex, and he keeps that P11. As Ricardo, I forgot to tell you that pitted. I think he didn't change his front wing, it was a normal stop, so don't get surprised if he's like 20 seconds up the road. Remember that this is the longest pit lane of the calendar. You lose like I don't know, 27 seconds or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, I'm going to try to regain this position. We're going to have DRS available once again. It seems that I'm really strong following another car. I think it's not just me, but generally in every single game when I'm following a car, generally I'm faster. I don't know, but Schumacher going defensive through Brooklands. I'm going to try to go around the inside. I try to do the switch back. But Schumacher parking the car pretty smartly on the apex. This is brilliant drive from both of us. We are outside of the points, but it seems that we are fighting for the race win, and Schumacher maintains P11 for the time being, as I'm going to try to go on the inside through cops. No, it's too risky, and remember, that is our teammates. But what a great battle is being so far in this race, and thankfully we're having this battle because our rivals, the likes of the Alfa Romeos and the Williams, are out of this race, and this is giving us a good episode, and we don't even need the guys of our league. I can tell you that at the front, nothing is happening. I don't know why, no one is overtaking anyone, and that's why we're seeing a lot of me versus Schumacher, as he sticks to the left-hand side of the track, so we are forced to go on the inside through Stowe once again. And who's going to be the biggest winner? Make sure to leave the room because he's our teammate. And who's going to be the bravest in the brakes as we go through Club, through Valley I should say, apologies, I'm really bad with corner names. He's going to be us because we had more track available for us. And finally we are up into P11, but it's going to be a few positions up because some guys are already making their stops. This is Lewis Hamilton, if I'm not wrong, and it seems that he has a 5-second time penalty, and I wonder if he made a safety car infringement because he doesn't have any damage, so probably didn't make contact with someone, or maybe he was pretty lucky, but he served the penalty, and this is going to mean that Bottas is going to be leading and Norris is going to be up into second place. I don't know what's going to be the final step of the podium, but I can tell you that Bottas and Norris are going to be in first and second respectively for sure. But anyway, skipping on to lap 11, this is actually live, and we're pulling into the pits to dress a brand new set of medium tires, and that is going to be our race. So from now on, I don't know how it's going to be. We need to wait for another safety car, I don't know, we need to wait for another multi-car crash, otherwise we're not going to score points in this race because let's be realistic, we are absolutely nowhere, but at the same time I'm really loving this race because our battle with our teammates so far has been absolutely fantastic, going side by side, left, right and center, and no contact whatsoever, and this is in a team like Haas, only on the F1 games, am I right? Anyway, this is our teammate, Mick Schumacher. 2 laps later, he will tread a little bit his set of softs, and he's going to fit the mediums as well. We're seeing on the top right hand corner our POV, and this might be really close between ourselves and Schumacher. We'll see if the undercut is going to work. Historically, at a track like this, it works, but we'll see as we're going through the start-finish stretch. Schumacher is going to disengage the pit limiter, as now we're going through the first corner, and no, the undercut hasn't worked. And we're down once again in P14, so we have to do all over again. Lance Stroll 5 seconds ahead of us, and he's on the hardest compound tire, so I'm assuming that he's going till the end of the race on those sets. So we're in last place, so we are the last of the runners in this race, and we have to re-overtake Mick Schumacher once again. And here we go, skipping a bit forward on lap 16. I was trying to save some energy, but you can see that we're kind of low because I'm pushing a lot. And here we go, down inside we go through. So how many times did I make that move so far in this race? And this is Pierre Gasly, and he's going to change his front wings. So what is happening with these guys today? Everyone is crashing with each other, and actually in general so far this season we're seeing a lot of front wing changes from the AI cars. I don't know what is happening, but the AI is crazier. He does spectacular things. However, they do stupid things as well, and this is Gasly. We're skipping a lot forward in this race because nothing is happening. I can tell you that nothing is happening at the front, in the middle and in the back, because we're pulling away from Schumacher because he has a problem and he gets overtaken by Gasly that is on the softest compound of tires. So sooner rather than later we're going to be overtaken by the AlphaTauri, and you can see skipping a bit forward onto lap 22, and Gasly is already in striking distance as we go through cops, and you can see how much time Pierre Gasly gains, and side by side we're going through Maggots and Beckett's, and that was really close to lose a bit of my front wing, and Gasly gets up into P12. But anyway, like I was saying, nothing is happening in this race. We had this fantastic battle with our teammate, but everything got ruined because Schumacher has a problem. And nothing is happening at the front. Bottas is in a league of his own. At the moment Hamilton is trying to catch Lando Norris, you can see in the minimap. But apart from this, nothing is happening, which is quite unusual to see, because in a track like Silverstone, overtaking should be something normal. So this is a really weird race. Maybe it's because we don't have that much drivers thanks to that lap 1 crash. So I don't know, it's a British Grand Prix, Russian-ish Grand Prix, I don't know what I'm saying, but this is Hamilton going up the inside of Lando Norris through Brooklands. This is the battle for second place. Bottas is going to win this race, so this is going to piss a lot of British fans. On the other side, we are seeing a great battle between two Brits, which might amuse the crowd of the UK. Hear the cheers as Hamilton and Norris are going at it. This is fantastic. Finally we have something exciting in this race. Round the outside goes the Mercedes, and Hamilton gets up into P2 to make another Mercedes 1-2. So in this season, and Norris has to stick behind him down in P3, but it's going to be another podium nonetheless for the Brit. But yeah, Norris is doing a terrific job at the moment in that McLaren, like it is in the real life. He's doing it in the game as well. But this is your race winner. Valtteri Bottas is going to win the British Grand Prix in front of the British crowd. Hopefully some tomatoes don't get thrown to the podium, and there you have it. Bottas stretching his championship lead even further, but for us he's going to be P12 in a very weird British Grand Prix. Points were hope thanks to that crash, but we don't have the pace. And yeah, that's it. I don't have nothing to say. Great battle with our teammate. Unfortunately had an issue, and after that I was saving the power unit. So yeah, I'm happy, I guess.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
That's it for another Grand Prix, and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Taking care of the car was absolutely vital today. It's been obvious all weekend that the pace was there, but look at the attrition rate we've had. They would have been very concerned about any minor anomaly towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Haters will say that is Photoshop. Bottas wins the British Grand Prix in front of Lewis Hamilton's home crowd, as well for Lando Norris. That's really weird to see a Finnish flag between two British flags, two Union Jacks, and at the British Grand Prix. But anyway, there you have it, P13. I think this is the best that we could do. We had no chance to fight for points. It is what it is. Not every single race is going to be like it was in the previous episode, like Austria. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, but yeah, that is weird. That was like a Russian Grand Prix. No one is overtaking anyone, and the saving grace of this episode for you guys was the battle between myself and Schumacher and Hamilton versus Norris, but apart from that, nothing happened. So that is weird, but anyway, Bottas stretching his lead even further in the driver's standings, 42 points ahead of his teammate, and Lando Norris 35 points behind Lewis Hamilton. This is quite a story this season so far. It's been a classic this season, but today this race was boring in general. But anyway, we are still in P15, 12 points. And in the constructor standings, Aston Martin gets up into P6. Mercedes still leading the way, miles ahead of Red Bull, and for Haas is still P8 with 13 points. But guys, there you have it. That has been episode 8 of my F1 2021 career mode. Boring race, but at the same time it was quite cool, quite crazy, especially on the first lap. And if you guys enjoyed this race, make sure to leave the like, make sure to support me. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. It really motivates me to make more weekly F1 content coming to this channel as always. Next race is going to be the Hungarian Grand Prix, known as the Monaco without barriers. So track position means absolutely everything. But now it's time to say goodbye. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys for plenty of the next time. But for now, take care.